All right.
There you go.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Word of Women podcast. Today is February the 7th, and as you know, Zita here with Kat and Emily, and we are always glad to have them here with us. And the Word of Women podcast, you know, is a part of Zita's Healthy Beginnings. And healthy beginnings, we know that is very critical in the life of the mom and the baby. So as you know, our mission is that mission of love, mission of care, mission of making sure that women give life without really losing their own life. And it boils down to love. So talking really about love, as you all know, February is the month of love, Valentine's month. I don't really know why they chose February. My background really does not actually acknowledge, celebrate, or even push this Valentine's month. But one thing I learned when I was growing up, actually in high school, we usually talk about, you know, when you're in that teenage age, most of the things that come to your mind is nothing but relationship. That is when we have our identity crisis tends to kick in, and people start to really demonstrate they want to identify, they want the world to know who they are. And that happens both in male and female. And for me, I went to school in a girls' school, Catholic school. So we were able to express that in a different way because we were afraid of all the teachers we had, pretty much clergy and the nuns. And we didn't express it like other schools that I knew. But it was still expression of care, expression of love. What we did do, what we were taught at that time to do was to write a letter. We do write a letter, and the postmaster will come to our school, and he will pick all the letters and mail it for us. And when we receive letters, that's how, you know, we receive them as well. So we were encouraged to write letters to your parents. Write letters to your parents, telling them how much you love them, how much you care for them, how grateful you are for your other siblings. And if you don't have other siblings, you're being encouraged to actually acknowledge the rest of the family, niece, nephews, anybody that you know. That was my understanding of Valentine. It's a time of caring. It's a time of really showing love. But as I grew up, I started in my 20s traveling the world and became a nun. I a little bit started kind of getting more excited about what it means to celebrate Valentine's Day. Remember, that's what Valentine's month. Remember, that's what we do once in every year in the month of February. So I was taught that Valentine was a saint. I wasn't really sure because all the time I read the scripture, I never come across anybody called Valentine. But they said he was a saint in the Catholic, teaching. I took it to be that he was a saint. He was someone who gave his life in love, in caring, in sharing. They didn't really tell us anything about his family background. And I kept asking myself, so why did our teachers, why did they teach us at that point when I was in high school to really write letters and acknowledge our parents, thanking them for their love, thanking our other siblings. And now, as I grew up, I'm having a different understanding of Valentine's. month and the day, which is February the 14th. And that curiosity led me to going through all kinds of books, looking through to find out what does actually Valentine mean? When we celebrate February, Valentine, what does that mean? Some people call it Lover's Day. That's what they call it in my country. Others call it Valentine's Day. Others call it Relationship Month. And I think the one thing I picked from the whole thing is it's all about love. It's all about caring and sharing, family, one-on-one for couples, and really showing people how much we care about them. But when I came to the United States, the whole meaning for me started to change. Why? I don't know. But one thing I noticed was every single day in February, in fact, before February, end of January, all the businesses will start, this whole promo. And I'm like, it's all buy. So for me, that whole essence of love, caring, and sharing started to change. I'm like, so should I really express my love to my neighbor, to my fellow sister, to even my family through buying stuff? Is that really the only way to show it? So I am really getting a little bit uncomfortable as the years roll by and I see all this whole, advert that is like all about you get this percent, you get this discount, you get the other discount if you purchase, and sometimes in large quantity of items. Some of them don't even make sense. But if you purchase them during Valentine, you get a huge discount. And what I'm beginning to see now is that I think the essence of love, essence of caring and sharing is taking a different dimension, a dimension that does not really carry the essence, the value of what love means. This is only my opinion. And I'm sharing this because I work in a profession that really shows love, that cares for people. At least I understand what that means. But what I'm looking at today and what I'm experiencing today does not really in any way come close to what I sense as love, caring, sharing, be it among couples or families. It doesn't come close to that. I could be wrong. And that is why this evening, I have really officially invited Emily Gomer to really answer some of the questions that I have, clarify for me so I can gain a little bit of understanding about the Valentine we celebrate every February in the United States. As you all know, even though I'm a citizen of the United States, but I was not born and bred here. Emily is born and bred in the United States. She's been celebrating this all her life. And I feel she stands a better chance of really educating us on what Valentine means, what February means for all of us. The other thing I also know about February since I came to this country is that it's also a Black History Month. And I'm going to really invite some people for the rest of the month, this podcast, to talk to us a little bit about Black History Month. But today, let's just focus on the Valentine month. So, Emily, over to you. Can you share with us what you have learned about Valentine's month, February? Any ideas why they chose February to be the Valentine's month? Any ideas who Valentine is? How does your family celebrate your Valentine? How does your community celebrate it? and really share with us the value of Valentine. Over to you, Emily.
I've been looking about how it got to be February. I'm not totally finding anything other than I'm not finding a whole lot on it, but just that, I mean, he is Valentine's Day is connected with a couple saints named Saint Valentine. And I mean, I know even in like schools, no, like there's always like the kids like share like the Valentine's cards. And then there's the whole chocolate and the I mean, it's also kind of connected with Cupid, the mythological, or like the Greek and Roman god, like the Cupid. And but I guess I was reading here that St. Valentine's Day is not a public holiday in any country. However, it is an official feast day in the Lutheran Church and Anglican Communion. But then there are many parts of like the Eastern Church that celebrate St. Valentine's Day in July. So there's a few things I found out. I know, and Kurt, one of our people that joins us for our daily 12 o'clock shakedown, have also brought up about saying her Valentine's Day is also called Rose Day. What was Mark saying about Rose Day? And it was like National Rose Day today or something. It was something connected with Valentine's Day, right? Or the month of February, at least.
Yeah, probably more. We're to do it the month of February. Sometimes, in the retail spots, the flower shops are bringing in roses because more so the Valentine's, it probably is a way to take advantage of all of the distribution of roses, and then more to make it a month-long thing and not just shoehorn it into one day next week. So they get the Rose Day going today to kind of get it going.
So here, what do you know about St. Patrick's Day, or not St. Grief? I'm a month ahead of myself. St. Valentine's Day. I'm getting myself ahead of myself. I mean, the International Day of Happiness for everybody. That's on St. Patrick's Day. But it's for month before that, and the month of love here. Here, what do you have to say about Valentine's Day?
So Emily, before we go to Kat, let me ask you, thank you for sharing the information you have about Valentine. You did share that some churches or some faith traditions celebrate St. Valentine, and that is true. That's what I've heard too. And you also mentioned something about July and the rose there or so that indicates, Valentine when they do that. So what I'm gathering from your sharing is that rose flower is also associated with Valentine, correct?
Yeah, really. I mean, I think roses in general are can be associated with like love and
Yeah,
not just
so it's
Valentine's Day, but love, kind of love in general. So yeah, it can be connected with.
okay. Yeah, I also learned that the color the color pink is also a symbol of Valentine. It's also a symbol of love. And
pink
and it's
red.
women's, yeah, and it's popular among women as well. So I read somewhere last week that the color of Valentine's color is red and pink. And those are really very important colors, significant colors. And when we talk about pink and we talk about red, like I said, they really remind me about women. More of pink than red. But I want to add red just because when we think about birthing and we think about procreation, women are really at the center of the whole thing. And I really want to acknowledge that when we are celebrating Valentine and we're at the Valentine's month and we are thinking about the colors that are red and pink, that we want to acknowledge women, acknowledge who their contributions in our society, and also recognize the, just like Rose has tons, to also recognize the challenges that women go through, especially this day and age, where we have a lot of families that are being headed by women. That is not easy. While we celebrate this Valentine's month, and next week will be Valentine's Day with all these beautiful rosy colors, that we also keep at the back of our minds that roses come with thorns, and recognize the significance of the role of women and what they're going through, both in health-wise, psychological, even physical. We know women who have been suffering domestic abuse. We know some of them who are who are victims of trafficking. And those are the thorns that women go through. Most women go through. And most of these cases are really not disclosed. And if there are certain limits to their, disclosure. And I am using this opportunity to speak up about that. And as we celebrate the month and think about how wonderful this month of love is, that we remember that there are people in this world today who are not really feeling that rosy, beautiful pink that are associated with women. And let's think about them and ask ourselves, how can we really help them? How can we be their voice? How can we really reach out to them and meet their needs as much as we can? So let's just ask Kat, who is a guy in our midst, and his own perspective about Valentine's month. And Kat, come on and share with us your perspective on this wonderful topic.
One thing, Zeta, is that why we have yours? Just saying pink. Is that why you have pink on your border?
Yes, I have my pink shirt and have my pink. You can see the beautiful pink I have my head, and also pink is one of my favorite colors. So
yeah, I think it might be. Yeah, I like pink too, but you're kind of all decked out in pink today.
Yes, remember to do that next week.
I was like, oh, Zeta's all decked out in pink today. But I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It was just an observation.
No, pink can't be a bad thing at all.
Yeah. Yeah, how can it when we're referring to Valentine's and love and that kind of thing? But go ahead, Kurt. I just had to make that comment before I lost it.
Well, you sure before you lost it. Okay. All right, we're just having fun now. All right. So yeah, if you'll notice, I'm decked out in the red today. So trying to be in the uniform for what we're presenting today. And so yeah, Valentine's Day. I mean, right off the bat, I remember being in school and using like shoe boxes and whatever, and having that all set up to receive Valentine's in class, through school. You put the little slit on there, and then all your classmates would be putting their Valentines in there. And so yeah, definitely a practice to, make, love a part of life. And so with the school days, it was just more about friendship, like, will you be my Valentine? And it was just kind of a sweet sentiment for your classmates and your friends to, just kind of wish them well. And, just kind of that admiration, type of thing as youngsters. So as far as I can tell, when you go to Google and you try to find, what they're putting out there on the internet for, where did this correlation come from? I found one search result tells me that, or shows on the screen, and we can find it in Google, that apparently there was some correlation to the mating of birds. So obviously right now in Pittsburgh or Madison or Milwaukee, we're not really thinking that birds are mating, but apparently, in Europe or wherever this was correlated, apparently back in those days, that's a thing. So who knows, kind of where they kind of came up with the brainy idea. So yeah, definitely the Feast of Saint Valentine got set first, and with the the sainthood and all that kind of stuff. So but basically, with the February being the month of love, and I know ZD talked about it being Black History Month and such like that. I think this is a general thing that at least in the circles that I'm running, seems to be a growing topic. Maybe it's because I'm 51 and at the Happy Neighborhood Project, and just kind of attracting this circle and network of people finally in my life. But but it is interesting that a lot of the return of virtues, and I find myself in conversation periodically about the hippies, so like in the 60s, and happiness, peace, love, and joy. And just kind of speaking to this, I think of our ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Hey, I was just thinking the exact same thing, Kurt, when you were starting to say that. I was thinking of Barry.
Yeah, and we were talking about the colors. By the way, Barry Shore has a website, barryshore.com, if anybody's curious. But in any case, we were talking about the colors, and I think of that mysterious fellow by the name of Roy G. Biv, that you can remember the rainbow colors. So just kind of interesting how the whole physical reality, the physical property of a rainbow, that it starts with the color red. And then we look at sacred scripture and just otherwise finding it as a principle of life, that in terms of the virtues, the greatest of these is love. So so this is something that is very important. And in my life story, talking about how over a decade ago I really committed myself into the disability community and with disability advocates, and thinking of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, the deaf community, blind community, people with physical disabilities. Now I'm on the board of Adaptive Community Approach Program. And I just really think of the people with disabilities that have reached my life, and with what I've done in water skiing. And I've talked about how at a tournament, a show tournament, I had a ski show team from St. Louis, do an adaptive water ski demonstration to demonstrate their adaptive water skiing team. And the leader of it, I had him go to the microphone, and I had him react, to kind of what he could share with all the spectators, all the fans at the show ski tournament with water skiing. And having just gotten back from literally taking skiing with guests with a disability, and I shared the microphone with them to let him speak, and he got choked up. He got very tearful, and he had to collect himself. And I bring this up because there are these things in life where I think life gives us a chance, to share our love. And I think that's really, really the rub of it all, is that, as we go through these life lessons and these life opportunities and these occasions and circumstances, once in a while we get kind of welled up with emotion. And so that's there. And as far as downhill skiing, with alpine skiing, someone who is involved with adaptive sports way longer than I have been, but she was on TV, and one of the sound bites, with our local television station, with her on the ski hill and she was being interviewed, one of the sound bites was, "This is what makes grown men cry." And again, I think this is all the manifestation of love. And I think for a lot of men, I'll speak for myself, that opportunity typically, especially, I might say in college days, or, in midlife, 30 years, in the 30s and whatever, as I went through the decades, again, I would say that if I didn't do what I did in the disability community, I don't know if I would be in this place even today, because there's a little bit more of, in the business circles, your posture, and you got kind of this acumen where, it's all about strength and for that vulnerability to come forward. I mean, obviously I'm running a lot of circles, from the last decade or so, where that vulnerability is something suggested and men sharing, so I don't know if this is kind of a coincidence, or this is a general thing going on out and around, or if it's just kind of my trail that I'm kind of, circling around these, I guess I could say, type of people, if it's a stereotype or something. But I share all this to say that it's very valuable, to take this time and to reflect on this. And like, in terms of my year, the way my year goes, like just last weekend, we had a Festivus themed event. Festivus for the rest of us, feats of strength, airing of grievances. We have Festivus poll, a portrait of Kramer. I was having fun last week telling people it was my portrait, to see if I was catching anybody who might actually believe that. And I think I maybe had a couple, but so we had a lot of fun last weekend. We did a scavenger hunt. We did karaoke. We had our Marilyn the Mayor from Hawaii, getting us going on that. And we heard Emily sing, that was really something. So, but again, to see how people share and care, and we've been doing that Festivus event for over 26 years, and it was something where it came out of, people tend to say, oh, it's been a while, we got to get together more, and all that kind of stuff. So I think this time of, suggesting like a greeting card, today the whole thing of Valentine's Day came up in Happy Business Networking. And there was a little bit of a breakout question in terms of, this was at H&P Wisconsin, Minnesota, that Emily and I, co-host with my wife, Sue, and with the other co-hosts. And we talked about Valentine's Day. And, we heard some people, like one lady talked about how she really thought of it more when she had a husband and the kids were around. And now it seems like she's living alone, so it's not as much, but she talked about how she's gonna, with her closer friends, you know, get those cards going to let them know that she's thinking of them. And I've said before that the greatest healthcare crisis known to humankind is social isolation. So again, another kudos for Valentine's Day and the month of love of February. And to think of it being Black History Month, to think of, you know, kind of, you know, that inclusion, integration, and Martin Luther King's, you know, Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream, you know, where everybody can just love each other and play, and kids and intergenerationally, and, you know, all across the board. You know, it's Black History Month, but it was really all across the board that race and ethnicity and these things that tend to divide us, you know, to bring us together. And I'm in Milwaukee. If you do your research on Milwaukee and what the outside world is saying about Milwaukee, Wisconsin, you'll find statements about Milwaukee being the most racially segregated city in the country. And that means worldwide, you know, that I'm in an area where we have this thing. So I'm in a city where Black History Month is uber important. And it's very interesting to think of, you know, kind of what's it going to take for Milwaukee, Wisconsin, USA to heal, you know, all of these things from the decades of past. You know, I've been at events where, like, the issue of our interstate, you know, like the reports are that our interstate went through where the minority groups are, because you know, in terms of white people being empowered, you know, they didn't want their homesteads disturbed or whatever. So all these projects were set forth disrupting, you know, I guess what was allocated as lower class citizens and stuff like that. So again, February being the month of love, I think of it on many levels. You know, how do we express that in our churches and our faith communities? Right. How do we express that when we're in service? And in the realm of service in our life, are we willing to let others serve us? Because I know for me, that's a tough one, you know, because I ran in my journey the idea that I'm so capable. You know, Kurt Roscoff's got this, and the idea of always just giving back. And I really didn't practice much in receiving. And the community that really got me going on it is what's called time banking. So time banking is a thing where hundreds of thousands of people are doing it around the world. And I just learned about it more so about 6 years ago. And a very fabulous thing where it's just about getting people connected and sharing that time. And part of what it could be is it's just the idea of getting people connected, so that people aren't isolated, and that people can exchange and, you know, live healthier and take care of economic concerns, you know, because of being divided and separated and not being together. So to me, that St. Valentine's Day is just kind of a conversation starter, that if you really let the, you know, the reflection go, you know, it really takes you out and around and on all sorts of, you know, on all sorts of curveballs, and I don't know, you can really get your mind wandering. So it's just amazing what's rooted in this, you know, what's rooted in love. So there you go.
Wow, thank you so much. Thanks so much, Kat and Emily, for your input on this great topic. And, you know, like when I was thinking about it, and then all of a sudden I realized that we have this wonderful month of love with the Black History Month, but making it also a Black History Month. And I'm like, what you just said, Kat, there, it's like, this is a critical issue staring us on the face. You know, how do we really reconcile this? And how do we make practical steps? You know, each one of us, whether you're Black or white, we all have our own blessings. We also have our challenges. And when we have situations or occasions like this, that is inviting us, encouraging us, and kind of nudging each one of us to wake up, get up, recognize that you are human, and so is your neighbor. And we know that we haven't done a whole lot of a wonderful job in trying to bring people together, bring even ourselves together. And I always say that when we talk about love, we talk about caring, that most times it starts with us. It starts with me. You know, how much do I care for me? How much do I care for family? How much do I care for friends? So it's when I reflect on you know, those practical questions, it really helps me to know, take notes, think about my own ways, how much and how far I have gone in trying to reach out, you know, both to self and to other people. And I know it's a challenge that each one of us has to embrace. There's no option, because guess what? We are all in it together. We all live together in this wonderful country, and also acknowledge that, yes, there are differences. We must acknowledge, recognize our differences, and also recognize our togetherness, recognize our own giftedness, and know that each one of us has a role to play in this great nation we are, that is the United States. And it doesn't really take a whole lot from each one of us. It does not take a whole lot. It's a matter of mindset. It's a matter of thinking, you know, better about self and the other person, and not seeing the other person as them as opposed to us, because that does not bring love. It doesn't even nurture what we call love and caring and sharing. And sometimes when I work in the, you know, hospitals and take care of women and children, I really find out that basically when it comes to down to it, we are all human beings. We are all human. We are the same. It doesn't really matter the color of your skin, or the color of your hair, or even the color of your eyes, that we are all the same. And the earlier we recognize that this day and age, the better for us. Because when one, you know, is hurting, everybody's hurting. And no one is really free until everyone is free. So I am glad we're talking about this today, talking about Valentine's month, the month of love, February, and also, you know, encouraging one another in expressing it through letting other people know, share that card, share that phone call, let people know that you really and truly care about them. And the one thing also I would like us to quickly touch on is how this whole month, precious month of love, of care, of sharing, has stepped away from what we know it to be, and now is into more commercials, more of materialistic, as opposed to really the human relationship, the human touch. And so that it's like Christmas. Now, instead of people showing that love and letting others feel it, we stuff it with gifts. And when nobody, you know, like when no one gets gifts, then they take it like no one loves them or nobody cares about them. And that is beside the point. So Emily, I want you to just to share a little bit what you notice these days about Valentine's Day, especially with the commercials. How do you feel about it?
Let's see. All right, it just seems like well, not just with Valentine's Day, but with like Christmas and other holidays, it seems like the Stores are like starting to like promote the holiday like way before whenever, like starting
Right.
like Christmas, like even before like Halloween. I mean, it used to be like until closer to the actual holiday that they start. Now it's like earlier and earlier, and so it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, that really, I mean, whenever I see that, it really, I chuckle. I'm like, when did we really move away from celebrating one-on-one or even as a family or as a community into now going, you see all the, most of the commercial, actually 90% of the commercials are telling you, show them that you show your family that you love them. Show this person that you love them. And I'm like, really? Is that really the only way we show people we love them? You know, I mean, when did we all step from the whole thing of love and genuine caring into all this materialistic expression of love? And when that is not, you know, done, people get the impression that nobody loves them, nobody cares about them, to the point that some people are committing suicide. You know, I read a few very tragic story about a little girl who felt that nobody showed love to her, and she wanted to commit suicide. She actually succeeded in doing that, you know, and left this a little note expressing that was why. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this has to change. Our society we really have to rethink, you know, what it means when you're expressing love, when you're telling people you really care for them. What actually are you telling them? You know, should that only be through buying gifts? Must you buy gifts to really show someone that you really care for them? Is that the only way to express that you love somebody? You know, I know when we also look at the scriptures tells us how amazing God's love was demonstrated to us through the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ, showing us how much, you know, God loves the world. How do we show it today? It doesn't have to be, you know, buying gifts, getting stuff that are external, trying to express or reconcile with a friend, a family member during this time is very critical. Making sure that whatever that was not, you know, done right with your neighbor or anyone you feel you've offended in one way or the other, I believe strongly that when we celebrate Valentine, this is an opportunity to make it up, you know, with that person. Trying to recognize that, yes, we live in a broken world. We live in a world that no one actually considers the other person first. You know, Kurt was just sharing with us about, you know, him getting involved with people with disability, doing all kinds of voluntary work and also reaching out to people. For me, that is what it means. You know, to when we celebrate people, we say we care for them. Those are practical ways of really expressing our love and care for other people. And it doesn't have to be just the only people who know. No, we can also reach out to other people. Online, there's, you know, sending messages of love, sending FaceTime messages, Facebook messages, telling people how much we love them. I think that will really go a long way to better our life, better our society, instead of all the, you know, not so good news we hear on the media every day. So let us just use this time, February, we're 1 week into it now, to kind of take a deep reflection, ask ourselves, how much have I really demonstrated love to my family, to my neighbor, even to myself? I said it has to start with me. So if I respect myself, take care of myself, it helps me, and I gravitate towards helping other people, help them to feel, loved, cared for. So this is here comes a wonderful opportunity, wonderful month that brings us that whole sense of love, and also getting us accountable to expressing the same love to other people. So I am glad we're talking about this today, and I'm not sure if anyone else has some contribution before we wrap it up. We're talking about carrying the month of love, February, and Valentine's Day is going to be next week, Tuesday. And we look forward to having, everybody here to celebrate love. However we want to express that. You're all welcome to come to the podcast and share with us.
Dr. Emmanuel, do you have any thoughts on Valentine's Day or February, the month of love, or anything like that? If you're there.
I don't know whether he's there or not, or
Maybe,
whether he has something to share or not.
maybe multitask.
But anyway, yeah. So, like I said, I'm glad we talked and shared a little bit about Valentine's month and Valentine's Day, what our understanding about it from different perspectives. And I'm glad that our viewers may have some questions, comments. Please go to our website at www.zitahealthy.org and see how we're really expressing love, how we're caring for people, how we're caring for our communities. And if really you want to join us, you're welcome to join us in any way you can. Reach out to us at 412-926-6662, or the number here also on our screen. And you can also look us up on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn. We also on, we have email address, and we are on World of Women podcast. So we're everywhere. You can locate us. Give a shout out to us and to anyone that you really appreciate what they're doing in terms of reaching out to other people, running nonprofit organizations that really does not charge any fees for helping people, and just acknowledge the good work people are doing in the world today. It takes courage. It takes a big heart. It takes free spirit to really do what we're doing. And I'm so thankful to the this platform, that is Disability Platform through Transform You Network and PAC, for giving us this chance and to always reach out to our viewers and to share our perspective on different topics with the world and with people of good faith. So thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week, Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you all. And until then, stay safe and stay warm. Blessings to all. Have a good night. Bye.